Hi friends, this is C. Amardeep Singhal, partner in GSAP and Associates LLP. In our last episode, we discussed impact of COVID-19 on the fundamental concepts of transfer pricing. In this episode, we will examine its impact on functional analysis from transfer pricing perspective. And for this, we have Mr. S.P. Singh, ex-IRS, who has been associated with transfer pricing in particular for more than 3 decades. He will help us in understanding impact of the pandemic on functions, assets, and risk, and how companies should prepare themselves to justify their results in transfer pricing model. Sir, welcome back to our portal.
Amar, thanks a lot. And I take this opportunity to welcome and thank each one listening us.
Sir, before we discuss the impact of pandemic on the functions, assets, and risk from transfer pricing perspective and how companies should prepare themselves to justify their results, I would like to ask you a very fundamental question about the whole thing. As this pandemic is affecting everyone, the tested party, as well as the comparable companies, the entire industry, the country, everyone, why should Indian companies worry about the transfer pricing audit?
Amar, it is a very pertinent and practical question. But I would like to say something here. Your observation assumes two basic facts. First, all companies are affected by COVID-19 uniformly. And second, that financial data of all comparable companies are available at the time of preparing transfer pricing by the tested party. Now let us take the first one. We know that the pandemic is affecting companies in different way due to differences in functions and the markets in which they are operating, and similarly many other factors. Hence, the impact are different for different companies. Second, at the time of filing tax return, financial data of very few comparable companies of the relevant year are available in public domain. Hence, companies have to rely on the data of earlier years, which are not impacted by COVID-19. Consequently, substantial economic adjustments have to be made for determining the arm's length price or the profit. Now, these adjustments are going to be challenged in the audit and the appeal processes. Now, the question is, can this be overcome? Can the problem of taxpayers be reduced? Now, there are two ways. One depends upon the companies. They should prepare robust documentation with a detailed functional analysis. At the same time, it will help the companies as well as officers in the tax department if the government comes out with clear guidelines regarding the benchmarking and economic adjustments in COVID-19 situation. I have one small suggestion that looking at the availability of data of comparable companies, economic adjustment may be allowed to the tested party. This will reduce the problem in making the adjustment and will reduce the chances of litigation.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's a very practical suggestion, and we think that government will surely come out with something which is very, very practical to the entire industry. Now, coming back to my original question, sir, how do you see COVID-19 impacting functions, assets, and risk of business from transfer pricing perspective?
Amar, it is difficult, if not impossible, to appreciate the full impact of the pandemic on the global economy. Countries are just trying to restart their economic activities. One is not sure how long the pandemic will last and whether there will be a second wave. Hence, it is too early to identify all possible areas and the extent of impact on the functions, assets, and risks of various businesses. However, from transfer pricing perspective, for some businesses, the impacts are more apparent. I would like to explain what I have said just now with one example. Let us take the case of IT-enabled service sector. There, due to the lockdown, more and more economic activities are becoming digital. New platforms are emerging for making working from home easier and more efficient, thereby increasing availability of employees. On the one hand, while reducing the several costs related to maintenance and running of business of offices on the other hand. Not only this, Samar, there may be reduction in requirement of office space because if limited number of employees are going to the office, the companies may think of reducing the size of their office space. All these will reduce the cost and thereby increase profitability of the companies. However, I would like to warn about one thing is that the studies are showing that COVID-19 is impacting employees' psychology. Now, this will go to increase the employees' risk of the service providers. And we must remember that for service sector companies, employee risk is the biggest risk which they bear. Yes, Amar?
Yes, yes, sir. Sir, I agree that the impact of COVID-19 is going to be immense and varied, and particularly when it is not possible to predict with certainty the extent of impact of the pandemic on the business parameters. Now, you have nicely summarized the impact on the ITS companies, but how do you see the impact on other industries?
So far as other industries are concerned, understandably, the pandemic is significantly disrupting and will continue to disrupt the supply chain of businesses, particularly of the multinational groups. The disruption of the supply chain is both from the supply side as well as from the demand side. Now let us take some of the cases where the supply side is being disrupted. The labor shortages, non-performance by vendors, shortages of raw as well as intermediate input materials, and difficulties in transportation. When we look at the demand side, we find that there is a big disruption possible because of unpredictable consumer behavior, which may include alterations in priorities and preferences, particularly due to erratic supply and availability of products. Further, due to the fluctuations in demand and uncertainty in transportation, risks associated with management of inventory may increase. There is one area which I feel is going to affect almost entire business, and that is financing of losses. To overcome losses, the parents may extend loan to subsidiaries and or they may provide financial guarantee so that the subsidiaries may take loan from financial institutions and third parties. Now the benchmarking of interest and the financial charges, guarantee fees will have to take care of the impact of COVID-19 as the rating of the companies and of the countries are going to be impacted. They will have to carry on economic adjustments to take into account these changes. These economic adjustments may be matter of litigation, Amar.
No doubt, sir. This whatever economic adjustment we have seen, all are into litigations, and it is not settled yet. Sir, we understand that it is going to be a very tough challenge for the companies to overcome the supply chain disruptions that we have as on date. Sir, what steps should the companies be taking to justify the disruptions in audit process?
No, one need to keep in mind that reduced profitability means reduction in cash flow for companies and reduction in revenue for government. And we must agree that the tax authorities are aware of the disruptions, but they would be aggressive in examining any lowering of profits to ensure that there are no unjustified claims. Now, hence, companies should have exhaustive functional analysis of their transactions. They may prepare documents to demonstrate changes in significant people function or locations. Now, while doing this, the companies should be very cautious. This should ensure that those steps should not give rise to more risks or risks in other areas, such as creation of permanent establishment. The companies should be ready to demonstrate the relevance of intangible properties. And if there is any change or change in the uses, then the proper documentation should be prepared. At the same time, they should be able to demonstrate the changes in responsibilities relating to the development, enhancement, maintenance, protection, and exploitation of intellectual properties. We all are hearing that governments across the globe are extending benefits or incentives to the industry. Now, when they take this into account, they should ensure that that should not come in conflict with the transfer pricing policies. So these are some of the broad steps which should be taken by the companies, Amar, to ensure that the challenges are made in the audit or appeal process.
Yes, sir, I agree. And thank you for giving a part to the companies to deal with the sudden serious impact that COVID-19 has offered to us. Now, sir, what additional steps should be taken from the transfer pricing perspective in general and with reference to India in particular to justify their results?
Amar, this is a very good question. One thing which I would like to state at first is that, whenever an audit or appeal process starts, the authorities first try to understand the business of the company. How are the transactions being conducted? Who is bearing a particular risk? What are the assets being used for carrying on those transactions? And for that, which is the document which they refer to, the starting point is the contract or agreement between the entities. And therefore, it is essential that there must be total correlation between the functions, assets, and risk undertaken in the concerned agreement and the actual functioning to justify the compensation model. Further, the multinational enterprises should review the routine and entrepreneurial remuneration of related parties. Now, this is very important because routine entities typically do not incur non-routine risks and losses resulting from the normal market risk. On the other hand, the enterprises or the entrepreneurial risk is taken by certain entities in the M&As. Now, there's the documentation by the group and by the entities should ensure to show this division of the risks. The other risk which is going to draw the attention and which will require very close scrutiny by everybody is the capacity utilization risk. And this is going to be very important because of the unavailability of labor and lockdown of the activities. Yes, Amar.
Sir, I think what I can get it is that to give effect to the observations made by you, it seems that the existing contract that whatever there in place should be aligned with the new facts and working style of the group, because the agreement is the basic document that the transfer pricing officer first ask from the assessee and try to analyze what is going on between two companies.
Yeah, Amar. Before I take up the issue of the agreements, I would like to clarify one thing, that there will be changes in functions, assets, and risk. But these must be very closely analyzed and they should be documented in the transfer pricing audit. One must take up documentation with all seriousness it deserves. The casual approach in undertaking economic analysis, industry overview, and functional analysis may land a taxpayer in very difficult situation. Now, coming to your question, Amar, I cannot emphasize more that agreement must be reviewed and adjusted wherever necessary to take into account certain changes in the marketplace due to COVID-19. Insufficient productivity and a slacking market demand resulting from the force majeure type of event could even trigger termination of or modification of the intra-group contracts. It could also be a reason to update the agreements to make them more like a third-party contract. Here, there is no need to emphasize that in similar situations, a third party may call for termination or modification of agreements. However, I would like to emphasize that any attempt to find a solution should be done with extreme diligence, both in terms of transfer pricing documentation and underlying analytics, as well as in providing framework for any change in the transfer pricing model.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are aware that you have been the pioneer professional to conclude APAs in India from the client side, and hence, what is your view? I mean, what is your view on the concluded APAs, because they are still there and whose terms are not yet expired? Do you think they need to be revisited?
Amar, APA scheme in India has been quite successful because of the maturity of officers in the APA team, senior officers of Central Board of Direct Taxes, as well as taxpayers in appreciating business realities and results, and realizing at the same time that negotiated solution is always better than the litigation, which is time consuming and is costly affair. Now, once the result has been arrived, the question now arises is, should the APA agreements be renegotiated? Look here, due to the profitability of taxpayer being impacted significantly, what will happen that the gap between the actual profitability and that agreed in the APA when the goings were very good would now widen, causing huge financial hardship for the taxpayers. Further, as there may be fall in profitability of the comparable companies, the need for revisiting the agreed APA may be appreciated, or rather would be appreciated by the tax department. Fortunately, APA regulations have option to revise an agreement if facts and circumstances so desire. And we all agree that there are significant changes in the facts and circumstances due to the pandemic affecting almost each and every aspect of life, each and every aspect of business. And this is a good reason calling for revision of the agreements.
Thank you, sir. Friends, we hope that your possible queries regarding the impact of COVID on function analysis has been addressed. And with these words, I would like to thank Mr. SP Singh for his time for our channel. And so viewers, keep watching this space for a discussion on various other tax matters, and do subscribe our Hexatax YouTube channel. Thank you.
Thank you, Amar, and thank you, listeners.